We are good.
All
Hello,
right.
Victor.
Hello. We are here with Midnight Merc.
Hello.
Hello.
Glad to be here.
Of course. Of course. So, what would you say your career path is?
Career path. Well, I am a 20-year-old artist from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and a career path. Well, I would say I started as a rapper at first, like in high school and all that, and I'm now taking like music classes at Berklee College of Music for my music production certificate, and I'm just kind of learning the art of mixing and engineering, and along the way, I'm making my own music on the side. So that's my quote unquote career path, I guess. It's mostly
Wow,
school.
yeah. Sounds like a process.
Yes, it was very much a process.
Yeah, so music wise, what is your inspiration, you would say?
Inspiration, well, I mean, a lot of people I say I'm quote unquote emo rap, so it's a lot of like Juice WRLD and XXXTentacion inspired stuff, and like Lil Skies. Like a lot, if anyone's familiar with like the SoundCloud era from like 2017, a lot of people were blowing up like it seemed like every week. So a lot of people I say emo rap, but this latest project is like more pop punk. So yeah.
Any like certain songs from those artists that like inspire you in a sense?
Well, I remember I heard like "Lucid Dreams" on the radio for the first time. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
if you like remember like that moment. I was like, "Oh, who's this?" Like back in like maybe it was like around 2017.
I think
Hearing
around
like Juice,
2016, 17.
16, 17. Yeah, hearing Juice WRLD for the first time is like a huge thing. And then X, of course, was like one of the quote unquote like leaders of like the young generation and stuff. And
Of
even like
course.
back in the day with like Migos and stuff. I know we saw like our old playlists from back in the day
Of course.
from
Yes.
junior year of high school. Like Culture, like that original like album is like a huge trap classic, and that's like a huge inspiration on a lot of my like trap songs that I do. I'm really inspired by like the Atlanta wave and stuff, like Metro
Course.
Boomin and all that. So I
Do you
don't know
feel
about specific songs, but just like that kind of whole era.
right? Do you
You know,
feel more
vibe.
inspired by like their beat, their like style of rapping, or like the certain words they use?
Yeah, I would say like definitely the beat, like Metro Boomin, like 808, like Southside, like all those guys like are doing the Atlanta beats. They're crazy. And then of course like the heavy auto tune, like that used to be crazy back in the day, which like Quavo kind of like made famous, and
Right.
like Lil Skies, and it's just like that classic like hip hop stuff though, like talking about like the come up, and just like they're still having those like classic like hip hop like lyrics, but it has like with a lot of those like vocal processing and like especially like the trap drums, like 808s and like the trap hi hats and all that.
Of
So
course. Is
that's a
that
huge
like
part.
things you think about like during your working process, or how
Yeah,
like
for
how else
sure.
would you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff, like, I only started producing maybe like a couple years ago, but I definitely look for those sounds, like the ticking hi hats and the trap claps and stuff. That's like definitely something that I try to draw inspiration from and like try to pull for those songs. So yeah.
Of course, right. So when you start like writing your song, like just let's say blank, everything is blank, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like how in school you would start an essay, like no brainstorming, no whether. What is your first start when you start writing music?
That's good. Like, for me, it's a lot of times I don't have a producer, so like no one's really like laying anything down for me. So a lot of times I could be just like out somewhere and like, oh, that's a song idea. Like someone could just say something. Like it just comes from like random places. Like it all starts with an idea. Like before I even put like the first instrument or like write the first lyric, most of the time it's just like inspiration just like from life. And I'll be like, oh, that would be like a crazy song or something I'm feeling like. One of my songs, Rage Queen, like that was inspired by like a book I was reading. So it's literally just like can come from anywhere, just like from day to day life. So it's just like experience, and then I get that idea, and then once I get that idea, I kind of like look through a lot of different sounds in my library, or like just loops or anything that can kind of like get the ball rolling in terms of like getting that song into like a real song from that idea stage. So I might like have this idea, and then like I drag in like this piano part, and then like, oh, this piano part sounds really good, like it'll definitely like enhance like that idea, and then it just kind of goes from there. So
Right.
yeah.
So would you say what was the idea? What you were saying, like coming in from your latest project, let's say.
Okay, so the latest project was In This Life or the Next. I don't know if y'all heard it yet, but In This Life or the Next. And the idea really stemmed from a really personal experience that I wanted to be kind of like a narrative. A lot of my other stuff has always been about me. Like Prince of the Night was like the first project I really put out on Spotify. And then Disgraceland 2. And those projects were really about like my own experiences and my own stuff. And for this one, I kind of wanted to branch out and make like a real story versus just like, oh, this is about me, this is about me. I wanted to make a like a real story about like two people, and like I want it to be really real and grounded, and it's kind of this like about a connection between two people that can like essentially is so strong that it lasts like multiple lifetimes, almost like if you believe in that like twin flames and like multiple lives and kind of
Oh, kind of like Avatar.
Yes. Yeah, like like people that are like meant for each other, like almost like soulmates, but
In a
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, like Avatar. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Where friendship can transcend lifetimes.
Yeah, no, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the idea behind
In
it.
a sense, that's what music is, right? It touches certain people. It would touch everyone to where it would touch within multiple generations, let's say.
Yeah,
Like 80s and 90s music can be somewhat relevant now. You can also take a few things from there and incorporate into music now, of course.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the stuff for like this project especially was incorporated from like pop punk and the whole new pop punk wave. So yeah.
Right. So do you like mixing in multiple like styles of like artists or like song styles into like one sort of song, or?
Yeah. Like I said, most of the stuff has been rap, and I've been trying to especially work more with like electric guitars and more keys and stuff like that. So definitely more pop punk oriented and like with different amps, which I'd never really done before. And that all comes from like a lot of the new pop punk, like Youngblood and MGK and stuff. So there will be like maybe the chorus, for example, is like more pop punk, and then it has like a rap verse or something like that. So it goes back between like the super distorted electric guitars and then like the trap drums and stuff like that.
All right. Well, let's hear some of like your music that
yes,
what
of
you've
course.
sort of described.
So yeah, this song is called Promise Me. This was like the first single off of In This Life or the Next. And again, it's just about a story that's grown reality and yada, yada, yada. I'll let it speak for itself. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
You tell me a story.
5,000 miles away, think you saw something special. New message every day, always with many letters. Is she different? Take it slow, cause I've been broken many times before. Yeah, she know what I like, been open since I met her. Those boys are not her type, yeah, my attention's better. Know how to make her smile when she's been under pressure. I'm asking, are you okay? Are you okay, girl? Because all I have is you. Different mornings, afternoon. If what you say is only true, would you promise me you won't play me like the other ones? They're the reason I got no trust. Tell me now, is it love or lust? Well, it doesn't matter cause she one of one. Slow down, there ain't no rush. Got her smiling like she got a crush. Makeup with the blush and her hair done. Gonna make a boy go crazy like whoa. Gotta hold back from telling all mornings, afternoon. If what you say is only true, would you promise me, because all I have is you. Different mornings, afternoon. If what you say is only true, would you promise me? Would you promise me? Would you promise me? Would you promise me?
All right, that was Promise Me, everyone.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone saw like my followers, but on TikTok I posted like a snippet of that song, because this song came out in like maybe like 4 months ago, and then like one of the artists I listened to, 44 Phantom, he put out a song just recently, and the beginning sounds like exactly the same. So it's like on my TikTok, and yeah, I think you might have seen it. But yeah, the fun fact about that song.
Would you say this is one of your personal favorites, or?
Yeah, I think this is probably the closest to getting first 1,000 streams on Spotify, so everyone run it up. But yeah, I think this is like definitely a personal favorite. Like originally, this was just a single, and then I don't know, I got a lot of good feedback on it. A lot of people said like, oh, I played it on repeat, or it's like I woke up with it in my head, or I was outside work. Our friend Pablo told us that, or he told me at least, he was like, dude, that song just started playing in my head when I was at work, and I started getting emotional. And I was like, oh, I might actually have something. Like, there's a bunch of
Right.
people who told me that, and I was like, oh, like I might actually have something with this. So then it kind of grew to become like this project. It became like the basis for like all the inspiration for like this whole project, the 6-song project. I mean,
Right,
granted, 3 of them
course.
are just acoustic versions, but as you can cheat and say 6 songs.
Acoustics make the song, man.
Yeah, no. Some people like the acoustic versions better. Like a lot of them have like the drums and the poppy, like the real punchy drums and like the blasted, distorted guitars. But like a lot of people like the acoustic versions better. It's just kind of like calm and stuff
Of course.
like that. Yeah. I actually just released the slowed and reverb version. If anyone likes like those depressing like like cartoon edits, like like study music on YouTube, I made like the
course.
slowed versions, like a lot of reverb and stuff. It's on SoundCloud.
No, I know a
right
few
now.
people that use like acoustic songs playing in the background when they like study or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can hear the words through like even the acoustic parts.
Yeah. I like the acoustic parts a lot. I wanted it to be like, even though it's like the same song twice, like it's really just 3 songs, but like they're the other 3 other acoustic versions. Like I still wanted them to feel like they're completely new songs. Like I didn't want it to just feel like, oh, it's the same song on there twice. Like I really want the acoustic versions to be like completely different versions. Like you feel something completely different when you listen to it, not just like, oh, it's just the same words. Like it's the same words, but like the instrumentation almost gives it like a separate twist on it.
Right.
And, like that's what I kind of want to do with the reverb versions. It's like, oh, this is like maybe like a month after I put out the original one. It has like a different feeling, you know.
Interesting.
It's on SoundCloud right now. Go peep it.
All right. Out of all your music and songs,
Yes.
which one's like the hardest one to write?
The hardest one to write, honestly, Alone Fairy Tale, which is like the first song on this project. Promise Me is the second one, but Alone Fairy Tale, that one was really hard to write. I was originally like, I had that instrumental for a while, but I hadn't actually written it until like maybe a few months ago. I had the instrumental for like almost a year. I wanted to do this pop punk thing for like so long, so ever since like
Would you say like the words were like the
2020.
most challenging, or would you say like finding inspiration for it would be challenging?
I think, well, because like this was the first song that I had really tried to do like pop punk with. Like I've been trying to do this pop punk thing for like maybe since 2020. So
Right.
it's been a long time coming, and so I've been just trying to write this song, and like nothing had come to me. Like I'm just so used to rapping, but like doing the rock thing, like it just took me so long to like really find the right way to do it. Like I probably rewrote this song like 4 different times. Like I had it completely done, and I'm like, no, this is not it, and I scrapped it. Because usually it's just like a feeling, you know. Like
Right.
if I can write something, like some people just like think the first thing off the top of their head, like I know like Juice WRLD, like he freestyles, like his whole second album is like freestyled. So like some people will just like write the first thing down like that they think of, and like that's cool. But to me, like it has to really feel like a hit. You know, like you can really like, oh, this definitely gets the message across. Like sometimes I'll end up writing a whole song and I'll read it back like the next day and be like, this does not say what I wanted to say. Like that's
Right.
the most like frustrating thing I think as a songwriter, to like you just get up and dance, and it's like when you're a mix engineer, I think they call it like, it's like this little thing, like a little philosophy. They call it like the head nod test. So it's
Right.
like if you're mixing it and you start bobbing your head, like you know it's starting to get somewhere, like you know that it's good.
Of course.
That's one of the mixing engineer tips that I learned. It's just like if it's good, it's good. You know, like music is still, at the end of the day, it's so abstract and it's still up to interpretation. So, but the long way to answer that question is like, yeah, Alone Fairy Tale. I rewrote that song probably 4 different times, and it wasn't until I had asked like a close friend or whatever. I was like, I want this song to be on the project, but I have no idea what it should be about. And she said something like, you know those songs that are like about a story, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, just do that. Like I really like those. I think that would really work.
Yeah, I
And
would say
was
a
like,
lot of old songs were also typically 80s, 90s, maybe even early 2000s.
Yeah.
A lot of their songs would typically start with like a story, or the whole song itself is a story, which
Yeah.
is very old school and also very nice. as
Yeah,
well.
it's cool. Like I mean, I know that like almost every song is like a story, but like I really want it to feel like a narrative. Like it has a beginning, a middle, and an end
Right.
type thing. So like I really want it to be kind of like that. And then yeah, I guess that's just how it came. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, well, I don't even have that many stories. Like if it's gonna be a story, it has to be something that's like impactful. Like someone's gonna listen to it and be like, oh wow. But like I come
Right.
from, I don't know, my life is pretty chill. I just stay inside and make music. So I'm like, I don't really have any stories like that. Like what to
Right.
tell. So I ended up telling a different one.
So the feeling I'm trying to get is like what you want to like impact to your audience is more of the message and the story wise rather than just it being really all dancey like you like Mo Bamba or something like that, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Like, I want people to like really feel something when it comes to music. Like, I try to make it so like all my lyrics are like based off of something real, and like, I mean, I listen to NF if anyone listens to NF, but his motto is like real music. So like, I want to be able to, when I listen to him, I sometimes think like, I have this feeling, but like he says it and I'm like, oh, he understands exactly what I'm feeling, and I've never been able to feel it that way before, or think about that emotion that way before. Like, I want people to connect to my songs like that, kind of like, oh
Right.
wow, like I never really felt like that before, or I have felt like that before, but I've never been able to express it like the way that he's explaining it.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's really down to like the narrative, especially in this project. It's down to the narrative and the emotion behind it, and like, I don't know, whoever can relate and whatever.
Of course. Would you say you would like you want to stick to the narrative rather than just just really loud? Because I know a lot of artists would get really popular through like just it being loud or it being very catchy, like maybe with no message. Cause just like the chorus, just the chorus sometimes just sticks out to people. And what makes their songs more popular? Would you say you want to just stick to like what you think you want to reach out to the audience rather than just it being really fun?
Yeah, no, that's something that I think every artist struggles with, and they kind of talk about it like selling your soul. Like, are you going to be like faithful to what you like and what you want to write, or are you gonna write like what everyone else wants to hear, or like what's just gonna be fun and like mainstream and stuff? And so I definitely struggle with that and try to find out like some kind of balance. Like, I want it to be catchy. Like, I want people to want to listen to it, but I also want people to like have. I want it to be deeper than just like, oh yeah, it's a good beat or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
So like, I still try to make the choruses and like catchy and the hooks catchy, and they have mainstream elements to it for sure, but I guess at the end of the day, I still want it to be real, like true to me. But I like a lot of my inspirations are mainstream anyways, so I guess it all kind of plays together, and I guess that works out for me.
All right,
But
if you want, let's hear another song.
Okay, so yeah, this one's called A Lone Fairy Tale. Well, this is the one I was talking about, but this is the acoustic version. So I actually changed up the hook for because I didn't feel like the original hook would work for the acoustic version. But anyways, this is the Lone Fairy Tale acoustic.
What a strange place to wake up in, and her head hurts from that kind of drunk sick. It's a stranger's apartment, that's where regret sets in, kinda lethargic. What a crazy life she lives on, at the club till 3 a.m. Then she's at the morning shift. This life is such a dead end. I'll do it again. Loneliness in her bed, numbing her feelings off the bottles and cans. Got so many pills off the Henny still. These boys got plenty, but they ain't no Prince Charming. Driver's on his way cause she too drunk to even use her phone. Irritated from the night before, she's got an itchy nose, can't be bothered. Light it up, she needs a cigarette, I'll be honest. No sleep, she doesn't get a rest. Lot of problems, works hard because she needs the cash. She been talking to guys but they don't give a damn. Nobody cares, no, she don't wanna be alone. Nobody cares and the night's so cold. I'll do it again. Loneliness in her bed, numbing her feelings off the bottles and cans. Got so many pills off the Henny still. These boys got plenty, but they ain't no Prince Charming. But I'm here now for you, and you're everything to me. Till our story ends, that's our happy ending. And I feel you here, and that's all that I have. When I hold you close, we let go of our past.
All right, that was a Lone Fairy Tale acoustic.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
I'm gonna put my phone on Do Not Disturb real quick. That was. But anyways, yeah, that was the acoustic version. I had to change up the hook, and then I added a whole new outro. So that was that. Like I said, that just kind of goes to show like I wanted to make it almost like a whole new song.
Right.
Add to the track list.
All right, what sets you apart from other artists?
What sets me apart from other artists? I mean, I know like there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I just like write my lyrics grounded in reality," but I always like to have like this dark spin on it. You know, like I don't really like think of any of these songs as like love songs. I think of them as like more than that. I think there's like this dark twist in each of these songs that kind of make it like them kind of unique. Like that have their own character to it. Also, like there's not a lot of people that are doing like the pop punk like fusion stuff. Like I feel like that's a whole new thing. Like mixing the pop punk and trap songs. I feel like that's kind of unique, isn't it? I don't know. I could be wrong. There could be a bunch of people who are doing this. I mean, just go on TikTok, right? We're a dime a dozen out here.
I mean, there are a lot of artists out there.
There are a lot of artists out there, yeah. So I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm completely unique for doing pop punk and hip hop fusion, but definitely the dark twist on the lyrics. I don't know. I don't like to like brag or anything. Like I don't like to say, oh, I'm so good at writing these lyrics, you know. Like I don't feel like saying that, but like I definitely do feel like there's a certain twist on them. Like they have this sort of like, of course I'm biased, but they have this kind of like genuineness to them, you know, that I feel like, I don't know, that's more relatable than just like the mainstream stuff. Oh, we're, you know, partying and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, in a lot of your songs, you always mention, or you say that there's a message or a story, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what, how would I say this? What would make it easier for, you know, your audience to listen to it or like to understand it better? Because I know like when let's say you're like writing an essay and you're trying to read it, but you understand it yourself because you wrote it, right? Like, how do you get yourself also out of that headspace to like also make sure the audience knows what you're trying to say?
That's a good question. I mean, I started writing these songs like they were just for me, you know, like a lot of the stuff like Disgraceland 2, like when I put that out, I didn't even really promote it. Like I posted it on my story like once. Cause like I feel like at the end of the day, like my stuff shouldn't be about the numbers. I mean, I hate to say it, but I do care about that kind of stuff. But like
everyone cares about the numbers.
Yeah, but like I wanted to, a lot of this stuff like I just wrote for myself. You know, it was like an outlet. And of course I want people to enjoy it because like every creator who does anything like artistic wants people to enjoy like what they make, right? Like you don't want to just put it out into like the void and then it's just like, okay. Like a black hole, like you don't hear anything about it after. Just like it just exists in this space and this of streaming and a billion other projects. But I guess I don't know. I just stayed true to myself, and like I feel like if people can relate to it, cool. And like you know, there's a lot of people out there like that are not going to be able to relate to it, you know, and that's fine too. But I think if I'm attracting the right audience, it's the people that are going to really understand it. You know, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand it, and that's fine. But the people that do are going to get it. So
right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Would you say singing ability is a huge thing in your industry?
Yes and no. Because, like, I know, like, back in the day, you have all these, like, virtuoso singers and, like, I don't know, back in the day, you really had to be able to sing, right, to be in the studio. But nowadays, it's, like, you got all these, like, bedroom producers that are just doing it in their bedroom, you know, and you got all these vocal processing, like, plugins and stuff that used to be, like, all analog, but it's all digital now. It's all, you know, a lot cheaper. You can just use your DAW or whatever you're using, GarageBand, you know, and, like, people just make songs like that. So I feel like nowadays, if you really want to do this, like, if you really want to do this music thing, all you have to do is really just do it. Like, all it takes at the end of the day is, like, you just have to really want it. And, like, yeah, you need the hardware maybe sometimes, but there's people making their songs out of, like, headphone mics, you know?
Right.
You see on TikTok, they just duet it and they have their headphone mic and, like, that's it. So, like, it doesn't really take that much nowadays. And, like, yeah, I say, like, I'm, like, quote unquote, I wouldn't even call myself a singer, to be honest. I'm, like, more of a rapper. I refuse to sing. I mean, you know this. I refuse to sing, like, live.
Of course.
I need my, like, plugins, like, processing chain first. So again, yes and no. It's like you should, like, it helps to be able to sing, but also like I wouldn't call myself a singer. I took like this 2-week class, a singing class, and I was like, I can't commit to this. I can't commit to like singing lessons and like write my songs and produce my songs and engineer the songs and then promote it and then do like all the other stuff like the merch and you know the other promo. Like we handmade the CDs. Shout out my buddy Neil and Arya, but we handmade those CDs from nothing. So yeah, so it's a lot of work, but singing it does come in handy. You gotta at least be able to hit
the notes. Yeah,
I mean autotune, you know, it doesn't like automatically correct.
Yeah, autotune can only go so far, right?
Yeah, autotune only goes so far. You have to be relatively like a good singer, you know.
Okay, I see. So when let's say someone wants to write a song and they don't really have much inspiration, what would you recommend for them to do in order to find more inspiration?
See, I'd be having trouble with that right now. I'm trying to write this song, and I have no idea what to write because I'm not in the headspace for it. But I would just say, like, again, it has to start with an idea. Like, you got to be able to go out there and just, like, you have to have this passion for it. If you don't have the passion for it, then, like, it's not going to come out right. You have to really want that song. So I guess it just has to start with that idea of, like, oh, I want to do this. But it has to have the potential. It can't just be, like, this generic thing that, like, everyone else kind of, like, just kind of knows about. Like, oh, I don't know, I went to this party or whatever, and then it's, like, it was crazy. It does have to be specific enough to write about, you know? And, like, that's where I always say what the best lyrics come from. It's, like, it's within the details, you know? Right. I mean, you see how many rap lyrics you hear, like, I pulled up, I got bands, like, you know? Like, I feel like it has to be deeper than that at the end of the day.
I got cash,
yeah. So, yeah, I just think it has to be deeper than that. So, yeah.
Well, like, that's all the questions I have so far. Tell the audience where they can find you.
I am Midnight Merc on all streaming platforms. I got one more song. This is Promise Me acoustic. This is the acoustic version. So you get to see like the contrast between like the original punk versions and the acoustic guitar version. So this one more Promise Me acoustic. Again, I'm Midnight Merc on all streaming platforms. SoundCloud and Spotify are like my main ones. Also on YouTube. And you can also find me on midnightmerc.com if you want your premium Midnight merch. Mm-hmm. We have long sleeves, we have short sleeves. We have the Evil Blood t-shirt, I think, which is okay, never mind. I can't do that apparently.
Yeah. 5,000 miles away, think you saw something special. New message every day, always with many letters. Is she different? Take it slow, 'cause I've been broken many times before. Yeah, she know what I like. Been open since I met her. Those boys are not her type. Yeah, my attention's better. Know how to make her smile when she's been under pressure. I'm asking, are you okay? 'Cause all I have is you. Different mornings, afternoon. If what you say is only true, would you promise me? You won't blame me like the other ones. They're the reason I got no trust. Tell me now, was it love or lust? Well, it doesn't matter 'cause she one of one. Slow down, there ain't no rush. Got her smiling like she got a crush. Makeup with the blush and her hair done. Gonna make a boy go crazy like, oh. Gotta hold back from telling all my bros. Told her secret, she better keep them close. She's the one that I'm needing most. Cause all I have is you. Different mornings, afternoon. If what you say is only true, would you promise me? Cause all I have is you. Different